Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is yoga uh, with a lot of my Lord of Life folks that I've been teaching on Thursday nights, and then quite a few other people. So, as I've been posting on Facebook, a lot of other folks have been learning about the yoga classes that I'm posting tonight and going forward. So, we're going to wait a few more minutes as people start to find the page and start to log in. Just another minute, and then we'll get started. So, hi, my name is Ann Vickers, and welcome. Thank you for joining me. We're going to have it's a relatively gentle, slow-moving class. We do move a little bit faster than the class that I had posted earlier today. So some of the props you're going to need, I always like to use props. I think everybody needs props. You need a strap. So if you have a yoga strap, this is a typical yoga strap. So you can use that. But if you don't have a yoga strap, then perhaps a stretchy band. These work great. And what I have made from things that I'm finding around the house, duct tape. So you can make a duct tape strap. You just take duct tape, lay it down, and you put another piece on top, and you've got a pretty resilient, pliable strap. I actually like the feel of this. It's soft and will work great. So if you've got a strap, that's great. If you don't for tonight, that's fine. I'm giving modifications anyway. If you have blocks, I know some people have blocks at home, but other people don't. So if you have blocks, 2 blocks are recommended. You can use some soup cans for some of the things that we do, and you can also use stacked books. So I would do stacked books for some things and maybe soup cans to bring the floor up to you. But I would put maybe some washcloths on top of the soup cans if you're using something like that. And then some towels or some blankets. We sit on those. We use them also for when we start our centering, which will start in a couple minutes, and when we do our Shavasana. And then if you've got a couple throw pillows or cushions off the couch, so these are just throw pillows, and I put the pillowcases around them. These are great for putting under the knees during our final Shavasana. And then a blanket, having a nice thick blanket to keep you warm during Shavasana and also for propping if you should need it. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And we're going to start lying on our backs. I always like to do a centering. We really need to center every day, especially during this crazy time. You know, I'm sitting here in my basement. I know a lot of people are working out of their basements or little corners in their homes. This is the quietest place in my house. So I've chosen the basement. I tried to spruce it up for everybody and for myself as best as I could. It's unfinished at the moment. So to start in constructive rest, I would recommend something under the head. So we don't think about giving ourselves a little bit of extra cushion, and it's actually a really nice thing to do. You know, a lot of people go to yoga classes and they think, I'm just going to use the mat, and you know, and you're on concrete and things like that, and actually that comes up through the floor. So I recommend taking, so this is a beach towel, you can just fold it over, and if you fold it in a way that you have just a little bit of a tail coming out, so it's a little uneven edge, you can place this uneven edge right underneath your shoulders and then have this other edge under your neck. You don't need a whole lot of space between those edges to do this. It's thin, but it's a little bit of softness. If you're feeling like your shoulders are tight, or you've got some issues with your neck and getting so flat is a little more uncomfortable, you can take a blanket or a towel and get it into a fold like this and then we do what we call a waterfall fold. So you do it into thirds. So you have a third, and then a third, and a third here. And the bottom third is just a little bit bigger. So I know I'm not doing my fractions well, but you get the idea. There's this little bit of shelf here that would go under your shoulders. This goes under the neck, and you're nicely propped. You can see how thick that is. So those are a couple of options for under your head. So then you would place this down on the floor, and we're going to come down all the way onto our backs. Our knees are going to be bent. Our feet are as wide as the mat, or pretty close to it. And then you can just let the knees start to fall in toward one another. They don't need to touch. They're just falling in toward one another. Arms come down along the sides. They don't have to be right next to you. You'll notice that that tightens the shoulders. So let them be out a little ways from the body, and you'll find that distance. And then just move the shoulders a little bit. Try to glide the shoulder blades down, just releasing the tension in the shoulder blades and the shoulders. Find that nice, comfortable place, and just begin to breathe. So you can close your eyes and begin to breathe. I want you to notice your breath, just noticing the inhale, noticing the exhale, just beginning to breathe, just lying on your back, some softness under your head, knees are bent, just breathing. So I see we've got some people that are coming in a little late, so I'm just going to lie here with you and talk you through this. So just starting to notice the breath. Our knees are bent. They're falling in toward one another. Arms are long down our sides. Little softness under the head. Eyes are closed if that's comfortable, and you're breathing. Just starting to notice yourself on the mat, bringing yourself into the room, ignoring any noises, any commotion in the house. This is your time, your space. You're just breathing. Notice the inhale and notice the exhale. And notice how the inhale feels. Maybe it's a little bit jagged, or maybe it's smooth. Notice if it's long or short. Just noticing. And then notice the exhale. Compare the exhale to the inhale. Notice if the exhale is a little bit shorter or longer. Notice if it's jagged or smooth. Just noticing, not changing. Breathing. And then you can take your hand, you can place it onto your sternum, right where your diaphragm is. And we're going to start to lengthen the breath, just drawing that breath deeper in toward the belly. Feeling that diaphragm move, feeling the belly expand a little, and exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. And we're going to start to expand the breath. We're going to expand that breath into our side ribs. So you're lying on the floor, you're breathing, going to inhale deep toward the belly, feeling that hand move, expanding that breath into the side ribs as you exhale, allowing those side ribs to fall in. Inhale, feeling those side ribs press out, really directing that breath, and exhaling, feeling those ribs come in. Inhale, feeling those ribs push out. Exhaling, feeling those ribs draw in. We're going to continue to breathe deeply, but we're going to change the breath. We're going to expand that breath now into the front of the chest, really feeling those front ribs expanding, feeling those side ribs expanding out. Exhaling completely. Inhaling, drawing that breath deeper toward the belly, feeling that the rib cage expand, feeling the side ribs expand. Exhaling, feeling that entire rib cage draw in. So just lying on your back, breathing. Feeling the rib cage opening up with every breath, feeling the rib cage drawing back in with every exhale. And then on the next inhale, as you draw that breath in, see if you can expand the chest out, the side ribs out, all the way up to the clavicle bones. And then exhale it completely. So really filling the chest, inhaling, really expanding those ribs out, all the way up to the clavicle bones, collarbones. Exhaling all the way out. Inhaling nice and deep, really feeling the chest expand, those ribs push out all the way up to the collarbones. Exhaling completely. And one more big breath, really feeling the lungs expanding, filling with air, and exhaling all the way out. And then you can release your hand from your sternum, just rest. Bring your breath back to its normal pace. Just bring it back. And now notice the difference with your breath. Notice if your breath is a little bit longer, maybe it's a little smoother. Notice how the lungs are feeling. Maybe you can actually feel the lungs expanding more completely with every breath. Just breathing normally, and I want you to notice how you're feeling. Maybe you can attach a word to that. Just notice how you're feeling, attach a word to exactly how you're feeling. Maybe it's, I feel at ease, or a little more rested, or maybe you're feeling a little bit more de-stressed. I mean, just coming up with a word that mirrors exactly how you're feeling. And then we're going to start to bring some movement into our fingers and toes and into our hands and feet, just starting to wake up the body, just waking up the body. So we're lying here on our backs. We're starting to move our fingers and toes, our hands and feet. We're going to allow the legs to extend all the way out. We're going to take a nice big inhale, reaching the arms overhead, a nice full body stretch. Really reaching those arms overhead, pressing through the feet. And then see if you can reach that right arm a little bit more and press through the right foot, opening up the midsection of the body, and then reach the left arm a little bit more, press through the left foot. Breathing as you do this, reaching right arm, pressing through that right foot, reaching left arm, pressing through the left foot. One more time on each side, really stretching, 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 feeling the body opening up. And then we're going to bring the heels in toward the rear end. Our knees are bent. Hands are alongside the body, palms are down. We're going to come into what we call Setu Bandhasana, our bridge pose. So we're going to inhale and press into our heels, lifting our hips up. And exhale, rolling slowly down the spine, just waking up the spine. Inhale, lifting the hips up. And exhale, rolling down the spine. Inhale, lifting the hips up. Exhale, rolling down the spine. One more of these. Inhale, lifting the hips up. And exhale, rolling down the spine. Draw the knees in toward the chest. Roll or rotate the knees out to the side, starting to wake up the hips. So little circles out and around. Breathing, breathing, and then reverse the circle. So just gently moving the knees out and around, breathing. And then holding onto the knees and just rolling from side to side or going around in a circle. We're just starting to massage the low back, waking up the low back, starting to wake up the hips. Just small circles and then circle the other direction. Just breathing. And then bringing that to stillness. We're going to look for our strap. So if you don't have a strap, don't worry about it. For anyone who joined a little bit late, again, yoga strap, stretchy band, belt, or something made out of duct tape. So whatever you have on hand is perfectly fine. So we're going to come all the way down on our backs. We're going to take our strap if you have it. If you don't have it, don't worry about it. And if you have a blanket, some of you might actually have a block. So if you've got a block or a blanket, just something to place between the knees. It's actually going to go between the calves, so the calf muscles are really holding it. You're going to place that strap around the balls of the feet. So this is one option. So you can take the block, you can have a strap. Again, if you don't have a block, you can take a blanket, just something you can squeeze into, just a little bit of a squeeze so that we're activating those legs. And if you don't have a strap, then you're just going to do it without the strap. You're going to draw those toes toward you. If you can't get the legs straight, get the part of the leg that's from the knee to the hip as straight as possible, as perpendicular to the floor as possible, and then allow the knees to bend a little bit, and that will accommodate tight hamstrings. If you can get your legs straight and draw those toes towards you, that's even better. And then we're going to take that tailbone and we're going to shift it so that it meets the ground. So we're grounding our tailbone onto the earth. So if I pull on the strap, you can see I can pull my legs this way. I'm actually then drawing the tailbone down, and I want my legs to be more up and down here, not drawn toward my chest. So we're squeezing into the blanket. If you have the strap, hold it up a little bit higher and press into the left foot and tug a little bit more on that left strap. If you don't, that's fine. Just squeeze into the blanket, draw the tailbone down to the earth. Breathe. Just breathe here. Try to feel a stretch. So if you don't have a strap, you can draw the toes more toward you. You'll feel a little bit more stretch in the legs. And breathe. And then we're going to release that blanket or block, whatever you've got between the legs. We're going to bring the feet out wide. If you have a strap, keep the strap around the balls of the feet. If you don't have a strap, that's fine. You can still do this without the strap. It's just a different type of stretch. So you want those feet flexed. You're going to draw those toes toward the chest. And we're going to press into that left foot a little bit more and draw a little bit harder on that left strap with the hand. Just breathe. Anchor the tailbone onto the earth. Make sure you're drawing that tailbone down. Breathe into this. Breathe. Breathe. And then bend the knees. We're going to bring the soles of the feet more together. Don't worry if they don't go exactly together. You're taking your strap around the outside or hold on to the shins or the ankles. Going to draw the heels down toward the pubic bone and then draw the heels toward the chest. So we're getting a little bit more stretch here. Just breathe into it. Draw the tailbone down to the earth. Anchor down to the earth. Breathe into this. Breathe. Breathe. And then release the strap. Draw the knees in. Roll on the low back. Roll. And then roll the other way. And then we're going to inhale the arms overhead as we exhale. So draw in at the belly button. Extend those legs all the way down on the mat. Reach the arms overhead. So you can actually work on core right now. If that's too hard or if it's hurting your back, do one leg at a time. Then we inhale, bringing the knees back toward the chest. Arms come back. Then we open back up, reaching those legs out down to the earth, reaching the arms overhead. And then bring those knees back. And again, you can go one at a time. So one at a time, you would take one leg down and then take the other leg. And the same thing when you come back up. One knee up and then the other. And one more time. Reaching overhead, extending those legs out. And then drawing the knees in, reaching for the strap, bringing that strap on the soles of the feet, taking something between the calves there. You're going to press the balls of the feet into the strap, draw the toes toward you, hold the strap closer to the feet. Anchor the tailbone down, and then press the right foot into the strap a little bit more as you tug a little bit more on that right side. Breathe into this. Keep that tailbone anchored down. Breathe. Breathe. Squeeze into that block. And then release the block, pulling that out, taking the feet wide, holding the strap close to the feet, finding a distance that works for you. Draw those toes toward the chest, anchor the tailbone, and then draw a little bit harder on that right strap as you press that right foot into the strap. Breathe into this. Breathe into it. If you don't have a strap, then you're just drawing those toes toward your chest. You're just getting a nice groin stretch, just opening those legs up. But still anchor the tailbone. Breathe into this. And then draw the feet together. You're going to wrap the strap around the outside of the feet, or you're going to reach your hands to your ankles or your shins. Draw the heels toward the pubic bone and then draw the heels toward the chest. Tip down, anchoring the tailbone down. You'll feel a significant shift through the pelvis. Breathe as you stretch here. Breathe. And then we'll go ahead and release that strap. Bring the knees in toward the chest. Roll on the low back. You can go from side to side or rotate around. And then again, we're going to reach those arms overhead. Draw in at the belly button. Extend those legs all the way out on the mat. You're going to feel the core working here. Then you're going to inhale, bringing the knees in. You could drag the heels along the mat as you come back up. Or you can go one leg at a time. So we inhale, reaching overhead, pressing through the soles of the feet. And then exhale as we draw those knees in. Inhale, reaching out. Exhale, drawing in. One more time. Inhale, reaching out. And exhale, drawing in. Roll on that low back. Breathe. And then place the soles of the feet on the floor. Roll to one side. We're going to come all the way up. We're going to come into a seated position. So this is where we're going to take our blanket or towel. So you can test this out. I mean, you're at home. You can test things out. You'll notice I'll take my jacket on and off. I am in the basement, so temperature being what it is, sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's cold. So just always stay comfortable, and I have my water nearby. So we're going to come into a seated posture. I'm going to show you several different seated postures. This is Sukhasana. So you can have your legs crossed. You can have one foot in front of the other. You can have one leg out, one knee in, and then you can change halfway through. If none of that feels good, you can go wide. Now, the other thing I want you to notice are the hip flexors. If the hip flexors are screaming at you because they're tight and this is too much or this is too much, or you notice that your knees are considerably higher than your hips, you're going to take a blanket or a towel and you're going to sit on it. So you can try different heights. This is pretty thin right here the way I've got this, but you can stack it a little bit, and you're going to sit right on the edge, and you'll notice what happens with my pelvis. So here I'm square in the center. As I shift myself forward, you can see that my pelvis actually tilts. Maybe it's a little bit harder. I'm all in dark here, so it's kind of hard to see this. But the pelvis actually tilts a little bit forward as I come right on the edge. I've got my sit bones right on the edge of this blanket. Pull that flesh out from beneath. If you do have blocks or books, have those in front. I lost my block already. So we're going to have blocks. Actually, we're going to use the blocks probably toward the side, and then we'll put them in the front. But having blocks or books is a nice thing. So I have a very long waist. My arms are not very long, considering how long my torso is. So when I go to reach the floor, you can kind of see if I draw my hands out. Those are just fingertips. I'm barely touching the floor. So I need, especially if I'm sitting on a blanket, so I need a little something with blocks. That's why I like to use props. It just helps us to bring the floor up to where we are. We're going to do a little bit of joint movement now. So we're going to roll the shoulders back. Just breathe as you're rolling your shoulders. Just notice how your shoulders move. So you might like big circles like this, or you might like smaller circles with your shoulders. Work with your own shoulders. It's not my shoulders, it's your shoulders. So just work with them. Breathe. Just breathe. And then we're going to take the left shoulder. I'm going to use my left elbow as a guide and bring that shoulder all the way around. And then I'm going to take the right one all the way around. Left one and right one. So just moving the shoulder a little bit more. Again, make sure that this movement works with your shoulders. Make it smaller if it needs to be smaller. And just breathe. Get a little bit of this torso rotation, a little bit of rotation through the chest, through the rib cage, just waking up the body, bringing some movement into the body. We're all sitting way, way too much right now, so we need to really move. So I'm going to bring my fingers down to the mat because I can touch, so I'm going to touch. If you can't touch, then place something under those fingertips. But you'll notice, let me take this off. So you'll notice what happens with my shoulders. So when I reach, my shoulders sort of pull down. So if my shoulders are sort of up like this, and then I can reach them and pull them down. So I'm really pulling those shoulders away from my ears. And then I'm going to take an inhale and exhale, tipping my head to the right. Inhale, center, exhale, tipping the left ear to the left shoulder. Inhale, center, exhale, right. Inhale, center, exhale, left. Inhale, center, exhale, right. Inhale, center, and exhale, left. Now we're going to reach out further. This is where I need my blocks. So we want to reach out a little bit further. I can touch the blocks here. I'm continuing to stretch through the shoulders. You're going to feel a much bigger stretch now through the neck when we drop the ear to the shoulder. So we inhale, exhale, over to the right. Inhale, center, exhale, left. Inhale, center, exhale, right. Inhale, center, exhale, left. Inhale, center, exhale, right. And inhale back to center. Bring the arms out, not directly across from the shoulders. So we're bringing them down. Palms are forward. Draw the shoulder blades down. Feel those shoulder blades drop down. And then we're going to internally rotate. So I'm taking my arms and rotating them forward, keeping those shoulders down, shoulder blades are down. And then I'm going to externally rotate. So I'm internally rotating, and I'm externally rotating. So a little bit of, I know my arms look a little bit wonky on the screen. This is a little distracting to me too. So we externally rotate, keeping those shoulder blades down, internally rotating. Externally rotating, we're really opening up the shoulders, and internally rotating, and one more time, externally rotating. And then release, roll the shoulders. So this funky computer camera, I'm trying to get used to all these things with technology. I have avoided it for a long, long time. And now I'm confronted with it. We're all confronted with change, right? This is my big change. So I'm going to take my right hand down to the mat, or you can take it down to the block. I'm going to inhale, left arm up, and as I exhale, reach, opening up that left side body, really feeling that left side body open, and then placing the left hand down, inhaling, right arm up, and exhaling, reaching. And then inhaling up, exhale, reaching over, inhaling up, exhale, reaching, inhale up, exhale, reaching, and one last time, inhale up, and exhale, reach. Coming back to center, taking left hand to the right thigh, bringing the right hand behind. Again, you can always use a block behind. Grow nice and tall with an inhale. On the exhale, we twist. Keep the head right between the shoulders, so we're not cranking the head around. And then inhale, reaching around to the other side. Exhale, twisting. Inhale, reaching. Exhale, twisting. It's not a big twist. Don't worry about that. Inhale and exhale, twist. One last time each side. Inhaling and exhaling, twist. And then inhale and exhale, twist. Coming back to center, we're going to find our blocks. So again, this is where you can change your posture. We're going to actually be feeling this in our glutes, and then we're going to get a nice stretch in the shoulders. So we're going to grow nice and tall. All of our forward folds, we actually hinge at the hips. So I want you to take your fingers. I want you to find that crease where the leg meets the upper torso. I want you to just lean a little bit forward and feel how those fingers can go right into that crease. That's where we fold from. So that's where we're designed to actually move. So we're not designed to bend our back. So I want you to keep your back nice and straight. We're going to lead with the chest. Keep that face nice and forward. We inhale. As we exhale, we're hinging forward. We're reaching for those blocks. We're going to press those blocks only part way out. Keep the chest and the head up. Find that stretch in the hip or hips. You might even feel this in the low back. Breathe into it. I want you to breathe into it, keeping the head and the chest up. Breathe into it. And now we're going to roll the shoulders. So you're rounding the shoulders, lowering the head, rounding the back, pressing the blocks out front. Then you're going to press into those blocks a little bit, feel a stretch. So it's like an isometric stretch. Pressing into the blocks, trying to draw them back. Feel the stretch in the shoulders and the upper back. And then using the core, press into the blocks, draw the blocks all the way back up. Inhale the arms up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Change the foot that's in front. Hinging at the hips, leaning forward. So we're folding forward, pressing those blocks out, leading with the chest and the face. We're going to press into those blocks. So keep your head and chest up. Feel that stretch in the hips. Breathe into the hips. Breathe into them. And then we're going to round the shoulders, round the back. You can allow those blocks to drift out a little bit further. Press into them. Try to draw them back a little bit. Feel the stretch in the shoulders. Maybe you feel that in the armpits. Breathe into this. And then using the core, you're going to sit all the way up. Keep that back nice and straight. Press into those blocks. Draw them all the way back. Inhale the arms all the way up. Exhale down. Inhale up. And exhale down. Let's just do a little bit of wrist rotation. So we're on our computers. We're on our phones. So I've got my elbows tucked in. So rotating the wrist, rotate the other direction. Breathe into this. Breathe. And then we're going to drop those knuckles. So it's a light fist. It's not a strong fist, just a light fist. Drop those knuckles down. You're going to feel that stretch across the top of the arms. It's a beautiful stretch. And then draw the knuckles in toward the midline of the body. Just breathe into this. And draw them outward a little bit. Breathe into it. Draw them up, breathe. Draw them inward, so it's in and up, a little bit of a twist there. And then out a little bit, open and close the fingers, breathe. Rotate the wrists, rotate the other direction. Press the hands out, nice and straight, keep the back straight. Drop the fingers down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up and release. Rotate and rotate. So we're all nice and warmed up. We're going to come into tabletop. If you've got knee issues, you can do the cat-cow from this position. So the cat-cow is opening the chest up. We're trying to stretch and flex the spine. So you can do a cat-cow just like this. Or you can come into tabletop. Tabletop is going to get a little bit deeper. You can place a blanket under your knees. You can use blocks if you want. So if your wrists hurt, you can always use blocks to be on top of, to take the weight off the wrist. If you don't have wrist issues, then have your wrists directly below your shoulders, knees directly below the hips. This is our neutral spine right here. And then we're going to tip the pelvis and drop the belly as we start to inhale, opening up the chest. As we exhale, we tip the tailbone under, hollowing out the belly, rounding the back. This is our cat-cow. So that's the cat. Here's the cow with our inhale. Exhale. Here's the cat. Inhale. Exhale. Couple more breaths here. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhale and exhale. So we're coming back to our neutral position. I'm going to take the blanket out to take socks off. So we want to have bare feet so we're not sliding around. We're going to start moving now. So we're going to get warm. You can have your blocks nearby. I like to use the blocks, especially for this lunge rocking that we're going to do. So to come from a tabletop into the lunge, sometimes we need a little bit of help, and the blocks help us. So they give us a little bit of stability, and it allows us to stay upright a little bit more. You can also do this with a chair. So if you're feeling like that's not working, you can always have a chair. And you can do the same thing with a chair, where you would be coming into your lunge, and then we're going to do our rocking here. So you would be right on the edge of the chair doing the same thing, but your knee will be a little bit higher. Your back knee will be higher. So our back knee, we want a nice angle in the hip flexors so we can feel that stretch. The front knee is directly over the ankle. This happens to be my left foot forward. I'm going to curl my back toes under. And I'm going to lift up and fold over that front leg. And then I'm going to drop that back knee back down. You're going to feel that stretch in the hip flexors. Make sure that knee doesn't go forward of the ankle. On the exhale, we fold over. You don't have to go far. You're going to feel that in your hamstrings. We're waking up hamstrings, stretching our hip flexors. So a little bit of rocking. We call this a rocking lunge. So I want you to go with your breath. This is an inhale and an exhale. A couple more of these on this foot, on this leg. Exhaling, folding over. Inhale, opening up. And exhale, folding over. Coming all the way back down. We're going to switch the foot that's in front. Again, blocks are nice and handy for that. Walking them back forward. Right knee is directly over the right ankle. I've got my left toes curled under. I have a nice angle in that left leg. I can feel the stretch in my hip flexors. So as I go to inhale here, then I exhale. I'm going to lift that back knee, fold over the front leg. Inhale, dropping that knee down, opening up. Exhale, folding over. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale and exhale. And then coming all the way back down. Now we're going to move forward into our standing posture. So this is where you lift up that back knee and you can step that back foot forward. So I want you to take smaller movements to get to where you're going. This isn't about big movements. So blocks can be used if you like your hands on something. So if your hands don't come all the way down and you want your hands reaching something, that's what blocks are for. So you can have blocks to the side, you can have them in front, whatever works for you. So this is our forward fold. Have a slight bend in the knees, press into the heels, and we're going to roll all the way up, reaching for the sky. Inhaling, exhale, hands to heart center. This is our Tadasana. So we're going to work for a moment on our Tadasana feet. Tadasana is our mountain pose. My head's going to be a little bit cut off here. Let me adjust this just a touch. So, mountain pose. This is a very grounding posture. We're going to be, most of the stuff that we're doing tonight is very grounding, which is what we need right now. When the world is all crazy, our head gets pulled out and we're thinking all this stuff. We need to come all the way back down, ground ourselves down, and allow ourselves that opportunity to find our center. So the centering we did at the very beginning is very grounding. So this now is very grounding as well. So we want our feet on the floor. You can't really see my feet. They're obviously on the floor. I love not having an audience here. There's nobody here to laugh at me. So we're going to be rocking forward and backward. So rocking a little bit back on the heels, a little bit forward onto the toes. Not very far on the toes, but you're getting onto the balls of the feet. You're going to feel that on the balls of the feet. You're rocking back onto the heels, forward onto those toes. So not really up on the toes, but just a little bit of backward and forward. We're waking up the feet. We're allowing the feet to really find their way on the ground. We're finding our balance here, noticing the weight distribution. And then we're going to shift from side to side. I want you to feel the inner edges of the feet and the outer edges of the feet as you go side to side. So we're waking up the entire foot. Okay, so you want to make sure that your entire foot on each side is awakened. So shifting that weight, noticing the shift. So we're not just shifting, I want you to notice it. Notice how it feels going from edge of foot to inner edge of the other foot to outer edge. So just noticing that roll through the feet, noticing the roll through the feet. Just noticing. Coming back to center. Now bring your hands to heart center. Drop those shoulders down. On the exhale, feel those low ribs drop down. We're going to find our true center now. So we're going to rock a little forward. We're going to rock a little back. Rock a little forward and a little back. And I want you to find that balancing point between the heels and the balls of the feet. Find that balancing point. And now shift a little bit left and a little bit right. A little left and a little right. And then back to center. And now you should feel your weight right in the center. I want you to notice as you're pressing gently into your feet, you're going to feel that energy go down into the earth. So this is physics. So for every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction, right? So as we press into the earth, we get the same energy force coming back up. If you're feeling comfortable, close your eyes and see if you can almost feel like you're floating on the earth. Almost. Gravity sort of prevents that, right? But you can almost feel it. You can certainly imagine it. Just noticing now how grounded you are and how you're growing out of your feet. I want you to notice now how your legs, all the muscles in your legs are all firing. They're all turned on. So everything is solidly working. We're breathing. Make sure you're breathing. So I'm just stepping back to the front of my mat. So we're going to inhale the arms all the way up. We're going to exhale into this forward fold. Slight bend in the knees. Inhale, come halfway up. See if you can find a nice flat back. Exhale down. Inhale, reach all the way up. And now we're going to tip over toward the left side, really reaching to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, over to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, forward fold. Slight bend in those knees. Inhale, roll all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Do that one more time. Inhale, arms all the way up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come halfway up. Find that nice flat back. Exhale, forward. Press into the heels. Inhale, all the way up. Exhale, lean left. Inhale, center. Exhale, lean right. Inhale, center. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, roll all the way up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Back to our Tadasana. Beautiful work. Beautiful. So I'm going to move my blocks out of the way. You can always have them sort of nearby. In fact, you might even want them along the edge, the long edge of your mat, what I'm going to call the front of my mat. So we're going to start to really move here. I'm going to tilt this just a touch more so you can see my feet. I'll stand on this back edge. All right, so we're in our Tadasana. So we find that beautiful Tadasana. You'll find it right away. I mean, it's immediate now because you're so grounded on the earth. We're going to step the right foot back. So we take a nice inhale, and then as we exhale, we're going to step back into a lunge. So this is a high lunge, and I want you to get some width in your feet. So this is what we call tightrope, and this is what we call railroad tracks. So find a width that works for you. So we just want to be nice and balanced. So we find a stance where we're nice and balanced. You're on those back toes. So we're We're in a little bit of this lunge. The front knee is bent, not severely. Back leg is extended, a little bit of a bend in that back knee. We're going to inhale the arms up. Exhale them nice and wide. Inhale up. Exhale nice and wide. We're going to do a little bit of a hinging forward like we're going into an airplane. So a little bit of airplane action here. And then inhale, reaching all the way up. Little back bend, tiny back bend, not a whole lot. And then exhale all the way down, bringing those hands back to heart center. I'm going to take this back foot, so my right foot, I'm going to rotate the toes out, place that heel on the ground. Now, I am a little bit wider than I'd like to be. I'm going to bring that foot back. So again, have your feet as wide as you'd like. We're coming into our Virabhadrasana 2, our Warrior 2 legs. All right, so we're going to find the width that works for you. So sometimes we have to maybe slide a little further forward. This front knee does not go past the ankle though, okay? So when we go low, when we bend that knee a little bit more, we don't want it going past that front ankle. Back foot is parallel to the back edge of the mat. So we're going to find our stance. We're going to shift those shoulders so that they're square to the long edge of the mat. So we're shifting, okay? We're finding our center here. You can bring the hands to heart center, finding the center. Then we're going to bring the arms out to the sides. So extend through those fingertips, really extend, breathe here, breathe here. Then we're going to look over those front fingers, breathe. Now we're going to reverse it. So keep the knee exactly where it is. We're just bringing that front hand, that left hand up toward the sky. The right hand drops down toward the right thigh. Breathing here. This is our reverse warrior. And then we're going to straighten that front leg. We're just coming into a modified triangle. So I'm going to bring my left hand to the inside of my left thigh. I straighten my left leg. Keep a small micro bend in that knee. Don't lock that knee. And then bring that right hand to the shoulder, lift the elbow up, and then reach the arm. Breathe here. If you want to try it, you can just reach that arm up, but you'll notice that that arm wants to wave. When we take the hand to the shoulder and then reach, it's nice and solid. And then we're going to bend that front knee, drop the back arm, lift the front arm, coming back into our Warrior 2. Reverse it again, leaving that front knee exactly where it is, reaching the left hand up. And then coming back to our Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. We're now going to release the hands to the waist, rotate the left toes forward. Now we're in a wide stance. We're going to inhale here, exhale, forward fold, hinging at the hip. So I could actually take my fingers, place them right into that crease. We're going to reach down for the floor. This is where you can use the blocks if you need them. Walk over toward that left leg. Draw those left inner leg muscles toward the center of the mat so that the left hip does not pop out. Stretching here, breathing. Walking over to the right, draw those right inner leg muscles toward the center of the mat, breathe. Come back to center. This one's a little bit trickier to explain on here, but we're going to walk our hands out until your head can be between the arms. Keep the feet wide, so it's a wide-legged down dog. Now I want you to press into those heels and press your hips back. Draw in at the belly button. Breathe. Breathe here. Feel that nice stretch through the shoulders. Breathe. And then we're going to walk the hands through the legs. Turn the fingers so they point away from the body. Walking through, your head's going to come closer to the floor. Breathe here. Breathe. Bring the hands back to the center. Now you can use your core to lift you, or you can use your blocks. So if you're going to use your core, make sure you've got a little micro bend in each knee. And then you're going to rise up all the way into our 5-pointed star. Now, we're going to switch so that we're facing the other direction. I know, tricky, right? So I'm going to point my right toes forward. If you feel like that's too wide, bring that foot in a little bit. If you need a little wider stance, just adjust. So we're going to now have our right foot forward, right knee is over the ankle. It does not go past the ankle. So we're finding our Virabhadrasana 2 legs. Okay, so find those legs, square the shoulders with the edge of the mat, growing nice and tall. Then we're going to float the arms up. Stretch through those fingertips, really stretch through the fingertips. Drop those shoulders away from the ears. Breathe. Look over those front fingers. Breathe here. Keep the knee exactly where it is. Drop the left hand to the left thigh. Reach the right arm up. Come back to our Virabhadrasana 2, our Warrior 2. And now straighten that front leg. Keep a slight micro bend. Take the right hand just to the inside of the thigh. Bring the left hand to the shoulder. Reach that arm all the way up. So this is triangle. It's just a modified triangle. And then we're going to bend into that front knee. Bring those arms back, finding our Warrior 2, right? My arms are a little bit wonky. We're going to reverse it. Coming back to our Warrior 2. Rotate right toes forward. Coming back into our forward fold. So we hinge right here. Find that place. Keep that nice flat back. Even come halfway to start with. Just come halfway. Micro bend in those knees. Breathe here. Then bring the hands down to the earth or down to your blocks. So left hand on the floor. Inhale, right arm up. A little twist here. Exhale down. Right hand right below the face. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale down. Let's walk over to the, here I'll do this so it tracks with you. I'm going to walk left, draw the left inner leg muscles toward the center of the mat. Stretching, breathing. Walk over to the right, draw the right inner leg muscles toward the center of the mat. Stretching, breathing. Coming back to center, walking those hands out. So walk them out. Have your head between your arms. Wide-legged down dog. Press into those heels. Draw the hips back. And draw the belly button in toward the spine. Breathe. Wide-legged down dog. Breathe into this. Now walk the hands all the way through the legs, fingers face away from you, drawing the head closer to the floor. Breathe. Walking the hands back below the face. And again, you can use your blocks or you can use your core. So if you're using your blocks, you're lifting up to the point where you can then take over with your core. If you're working with your core only, slight micro bend in the knees, lifting up, bringing the arms out, and we're coming into our 5-pointed star. Breathe here. Draw in at the belly button. Allow those shoulders to be relaxed. Breathe. And then we're going to bring the hands to the hips. We're going to heel toe in. We're going to bring our feet a little bit more than hip distance apart. We're going to come down into Malasana, our low lunge. So we're going to drop those hips. We're going to try to keep the back nice and straight as we drop the hips. So we drop those hips. We're coming down into our low squat. Did I say low lunge? Sorry, low squat. So we're coming down into a low squat. So this is where you can always use a block here, or you can use blocks in front to just try to get into the squat. A great thing to do is to take a blanket, place your heels on the blanket, and then come down into the squat. You'll find your squat, you'll be able to get in there a little bit lower. So we're just breathing in the squat. We're just finding our squat, breathing into it. So we can press the elbows into the knees and press the knees into the elbows. Little isometric action here. Just breathe, keeping that head up, breathing. I know this is getting long. Place the hands on the floor, toes forward, lift the hips up. And then we're going to come back down, just finding a squat, any squat. It can even be a partial squat. And then lift the hips up, drop the head. And then inhale, dropping the hips down, coming back into a squat. And then exhale last time, lifting those hips, lowering the head. And then we're going to come all the way up, reaching up, nice big inhale. Exhale, hands to heart center. So we're going to do our breath of joy. So we just did a lot of work. I mean, it's nice for an evening practice. It's not a huge amount of work. We moved our bodies. We got ourselves kind of unstuck from the day. And it's a Thursday. Got a lot of stress, so I don't overwork us on Thursdays. We're going to do our breath of joy. So breath of joy is something that you should consider doing any time of the day. The breath of joy is 3 big sips of air and then a big release as we fold forward. So I like to have my feet a little bit wider, my knees bent. We use our arms for our sipping because it's a sip here, a sip here, a sip here, and then a fold with a big release through the mouth. Here we go. Again. One more time. Hold your hands down, bend your knees. We're going to come all the way down to the floor. So when we do our breath of joy, we get a lot of oxygen into our lungs. So we're clearing the lungs, and then we allow the oxygen to come in. We can get a little lightheaded. So that's why I like to anchor to the floor. We're going to come to a seated position. You may want to have something to sit on. If you have tight hamstrings, you will also want a blanket. And if you have a strap of some sort, I'm going to use my duct tape strap because I've been dying to use it. I'm so proud of myself. You know, when we dream up something new, right, we're so proud of ourselves. Everybody else is like, oh my gosh. But somebody's got to be proud of you, right? So why not you? All right. This is our staff pose, Dandasana, staff pose. If you have tight hamstrings, sliding a blanket underneath the thighs or rolling it can help you to feel more comfortable in the hip flexors. We're going to draw those toes up. You can do this without a strap. I like it with a strap because it allows us to stay more upright and it allows a greater control over the stretch. So you can see how lovely this duct tape strap is. I love it. All right. So we grow nice and tall in our staff pose. Sometimes you have to pull that flesh out from beneath our sit bones. Nice and tall. Work on that posture. Feel those shoulders drop away from the ears. Take a nice big inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to lead with the chest. Keep the face up. We walk down the strap. So we're hinging at the hips. Hinging at the hips. You're not going to go far. All right? Don't worry about it. We don't go far in this. That's the beauty of doing our forward fold in Dandasana this way. We really stretch into those hamstrings. I know they're screaming. Come back up with an inhale and exhale. Walk down. Breathe here. And inhale, walk up. And last time, exhale, walking down. Find that place where you feel the stretch. Breathe into it and release. Come all the way up. I'm going to remove the blanket from behind the thighs. I'm going to cross left leg over the right. So this is my left knee, taking my right arm and wrapping it around. Now, that may not work for you. You can always take a hand to the outside of the left thigh, okay? So you don't want to crank on the knee, crank on the thigh. That may be enough. I already feel that stretch. Then you can take the left arm behind, and we just open up the chest by externally rotating the shoulder. You don't even have to do a lot of work. Just externally rotate the shoulder. You'll feel that twist. Breathe into this. Breathe. Breathe. And release. Shake that leg out. Cross over. Reaching left arm around or taking the left hand to the outside of the right thigh. Grow nice and tall. Bring the right hand behind and then externally rotate that right shoulder. You'll feel the twist. Breathe into this. Breathe into it. Breathe. And release. Shake those legs out. Come all the way down to the floor. So lying on our backs, we're going to do our pigeon. If you have a block, this is a nice thing to do. I'm going to place one block on one side, one on the other. You can have it medium or low. So it just depends on you. Have it so you can still reach it. So I'm going to cross my right leg over my left to start with. I'm going to weave my hands between my thighs. If that's too much, this is where a strap can be helpful. You can place a strap there and draw it in. So I draw that knee toward me, and then I lie back down. So my head's on the floor. So I'm breathing here, just drawing this leg toward me, breathing into it, breathing. Feeling that stretch in the hip. And then I'm going to roll over to the side, just a little bit of a twist, and open up my right arm. So I'm just allowing this leg to come down, and then I'm going to hold on. I'm going to hold on to the shin. You can hold on to the foot, the ankle, the shin. So just getting a little bit of a twist. If that foot wants to come all the way to the floor, that's fine. So just finding the twist that works for you. So we're just moving our body into a twist. If that doesn't work for you, that's fine. You can just switch to the other side and work on pigeon. So reaching through the legs, hands clasped behind the thigh, drawing that knee towards you, breathing. Just breathing here. Breathing. And again, if you want to use a block to place the foot on or not, rolling down to the side, finding that twist, opening the left arm up as the left foot goes down to the floor or the block. Just breathing. So finding that twist, breathing into it, and then coming back. We're going to do a little bit more twisting. Feet are wide, knees are bent, arms are out in a T. We're just going to do a little windshield wiper action. So just dropping knees right and left, right and left. If you want to enhance this, you can take the left ankle onto the right thigh and breathe into this. So you can see there's a little bit more of a twist. And then release that and drop the right knee down, cross the right ankle on top of the left thigh, and breathe. And then we'll come into our Shavasana. So for those who have not done Shavasana before, this is our rest and restore time. It's the time that the body connects into all of the actions that we've been doing, the breath work, the movement. And it's a time for us to just recover from the day, the week. So we want to get nice and comfortable. You want to have something under your head, so making it nice and soft. So taking a blanket and creating a level. So again, it can be just a single, kind of that single level where this part, although I don't normally put the fringe under the shoulders, but putting this one section under the shoulders, the other one under the neck. You can even scoop it in under the neck, or you can take your blankets. I like to use the fleece blankets. I've got a nice thin fleece blanket. It's nice and fluffy, soft under the head. It's finding something that works for you. Placing that under the head. For the knees, taking a couple of these throw pillows. You can place them right under the knees. You can also take a towel and roll the towel and place that under the Achilles heel. So it would look something like this. So in the absence of the lovely bolsters at the studios, you can make yourself nice and cozy, comfortable, just like this. So I like to have the knees a little bit more bent. It takes a lot of strain out of the back. Having something under the heels makes them nice and cozy. And then placing a blanket on top. We'll start our Shavasana. I will have some music going. And then the way this is going to work is I will end this and you will stay in your Shavasana for as long as you can. Remember, this is your time. It's not somebody else's in the house. We're into our evening. The day is over. The week's almost gone. I'm going to have some music going that you may or may not be able to hear at first, and then it will kick in once I stop talking. I know you're like, can you stop now, please? So I know you love me. All right, here we go. So have your room darker, nice and quiet. You can place something over your eyes if you'd like a washcloth or blanket. Just begin to bring the awareness to the crown of your head. Relax all across the scalp. Soften across the forehead. Melt that space between the eyebrows. Swallow to release the throat and neck. Soften the shoulders. Relax the right arm all the way down to the right fingers. Relax the left arm all the way down to the left fingers. Relax the upper back, the mid back, and the low back. Relax across the chest and down through the abdomen. Notice how freely your breath moves in and out. Allow your hips and glutes to melt into the floor. Feel your upper torso grow heavy, yet supported by the earth. Relax the thighs, the shins, and the calves. Relax the top of the feet, the bottom of the feet, and all 10 toes. Take a big inhale into your body, and on the exhale, release any remaining tension.